In today's episode of my podcast story, we have Jennifer Blake, dynamic sales and mindset master coach and the co-founder of a widely successful sales podcast that has garnered over 3 million downloads. Jennifer is known for her innovative approach to sales, teaching entrepreneurs how to achieve time and financial freedom through her unique sales success formula. After years of hustling, hard work, and working long hours, she cracked the code to entrepreneurial success and now empowers others to build businesses that support their dreams rather than consume their lives. With a best-selling book, Sales in a New York Minute under her belt, Jennifer is on a mission to help entrepreneurs increase their impact and income. She's here to share her inspiring journey on how she built her show from the ground up and the lessons she's learned along the way. Tell me your name and a little bit about the podcast. And yeah.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. I'm Jennifer Blake, and I had a podcast. I somewhat recently left, that I co-founded. And on that podcast, we gave out sales strategies and sales tips and talked all about sales. And on the back end of that, it was a big lever for us for creating sales. It was a great marketing tool. So I'd love to share more about that. Eventually, I'm going to start a new podcast, but the relationship I was in ended, and we were doing that podcast together, so it only made sense to kind of leave.
Oh yeah, because that was the question I was about to ask next. I was like, what
Why
happened?
leave?
Yeah,
Why? Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah,
the podcast was great, but can I tell you, like, when I don't know if your audience is like avid podcasters or they're starting to get into podcasting. But what I will tell you is I was terrified at first of podcasting. Like, I was so scared to get on the mic. It got to the point where our producer, because we had someone who was helping us produce the show, he said to us, if you guys aren't serious about this show, let's just cancel it. Like, what's the point? Like, we don't need it. And I was like, what do you mean we're not serious? Of course we're serious. We come down here and shoot. He's like, yeah, sporadically. Podcasts air on a consistent basis. And so you guys need to be consistent about it. And it was really me not wanting to be consistent about it because I was terrified of, like, what am I going to say? What if I say the wrong thing? There's a really beautiful thing called editing. But even with that, I'm like, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't get edited? What if, and like,
wait, the way you just paused and say, well, there's a really beautiful thing. I was like, well, what is she talking about? And then I heard editing. I was like, oh.
it makes everyone sound super smart. We got to the point where really weren't editing our podcasts at all towards the end, because we just wanted it to be super genuine and authentic and all that. But I was just so nervous about it. I was terrified. And I went from being terrified to eventually we built up a show that we started airing 5 days a week. And then we realized, like, we over podcasted and we scaled back down
Yeah.
to 1 day a week, because people just have a hard time consuming that much content, I think.
Yeah.
And so there is a sweet spot there. And we had over 3 million downloads.
Wow.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
I know.
Wha-
I know. Insane, right?
How long ago is this? Like, how far
I
back?
left about 2 years ago. It doesn't feel that long. It feels very
Wait.
recent, actually.
Oh,
But
yeah. I see why it's
two
recent.
years.
Yeah.
But we had been podcasting for only a couple of years that we had gotten the 3 million download mark. I don't know what it's at now because I don't have the stats anymore.
Yeah.
Since I've left. But before I left, we had a cake and everything because we had hit 3 million downloads. We were so happy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so cool. I was at an event, at a sporting event, and someone came up to me and he was like, and he recognized me and my ex, and he's like, oh my gosh, I listened to your show. I thought you guys were on vacation. I thought you were here. I was like, he knows more about me than some of my friends, because he was like an avid show listener, and we talked about our lives, not just sales. And so I was like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, you really get to know someone when you listen to their podcast.
Yeah. When did you guys start the podcast?
Oh, I wish I remembered. I want to say like 2018, maybe.
Okay, 2018. Okay. That's before the pandemic.
I'm guessing. I really
But
don't
are
I
you
don't know
sure
for
it's
sure.
before the pandemic?
I think so. I'm just looking. I think it might have been like 2017 even. Yeah, it was
We
before
could
the
put it up
pandemic.
okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 2017. And but before I go into other questions on okay, after the podcast and everything, I just want us to like explore, when you started the podcast, and I think the podcast ran for about a couple of years, 3 years. Yeah, more than 3 years before you left the podcast. Or what did the podcast do to you? Not sales, not money, not the stuff. Like
Yeah. From a personal development perspective, it really helped me hone my voice and get better at communicating who I am, what I believe in, what I care about. It really helped me share some of my stories. And I love that this is called my podcast story, because it's really all about sharing stories, right? And the one thing I felt like I was not great about was telling a story succinctly so that people would still be engaged and interested, especially in today's day where you're getting so many things thrown at you at all times. And it really helped me because I would listen back to it and I would kind of study, like, what did I like about this? What did not like about it? Our producer would give us notes, like, and he would say, this was good, this wasn't, and he was brutally honest. And it was that the year that I started doing it consistently, I grew so much as a person because I was able to use my voice in such a more meaningful way. But then in addition to that, it was the relationships that I created. And again, like not non-monetary, like you're saying, like just actual relationships by having people share their stories and hearing and asking them questions. And just like, I can't wait to learn more about you because we're having this podcast together, And so like
yeah.
we will develop a relationship as well. And you get to know people from all over the world. Like it's already Monday where you are. It's Sunday where I am at the time of the recording. Like how freaking cool that we can do this, right? And so just the ability to connect with such amazing human beings all over the globe, it really opened a lot of doors in that aspect.
Yeah, still speaking of relationship, I just wanted to. I know there's so many relationships that you build via the podcast, but can you just single out one? Just point out one
Like one episode that I just loved the most.
in terms of relationship, in the context of relationship, not just the episode itself. I guess.
There are so many, like some of the guests I had already known and I just got to know on a deeper level. Jeb Blunt was on our show, and he has written a lot of books on sales. Danina Reno was on our show. He wrote a lot of books he's written, and they both continue to write books on sales. So they were really great. Jay Abraham was phenomenal. He talked about marketing and he was just such a great guest. One of my very good friends, Honore Corder, was on our show. She talks about becoming an author and marketing and publishing your book. And I would say, of all the relationships that I've developed, she's definitely the closest relationship that I built. I don't know necessarily that it was from the podcast, but it definitely helps when you interview someone and get to know them and get to hear all about them and their business, right? So
Yeah.
those are just some of the people that I really got the pleasure of connecting with, like really, really cool, amazing people. The list goes on. Like Andy Frisella was on our show and he was incredible. I mean, I could just such great people.
Hey, just a quick break. If you enjoying the insights so far and want even more behind the scenes ideas, inspiration, and tools for growing your own podcast, join my email list at mypodcaststory.com/join. That is mypodcaststory.com/join. You get access to helpful resources, exclusive updates, and the kind of stuff I only share with my email subscribers. Whether you're starting out or already podcasting, there's something valuable waiting for you. Head over to mypodcaststory.com/join and subscribe. Now, back to the episode. Yeah, I want us to before we start the podcast, there was this I don't know. I don't know if I should call it fear. I guess you have to tell me what it was where you wanted to do the podcast, but your actions said otherwise, right? You said you were serious about the podcast, but your actions of you showing up and not showing up, those were completely different from what you said. So why would you say there was that cognitive dissonance? Was that in terms of actions versus what we say. You said that you love the podcast, you're serious about the podcast, but in terms of showing up to record, it was way different.
I was scared. Like I would get in front of this mic and I didn't see anyone. If it was just a show where we were talking, I didn't see anyone who I was talking to. And it's especially if you're doing like a solo podcast or a podcast like where you're just talking to a co-host, it's terrifying. Or it can be. It doesn't have to be. For me, it was, right? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say. What am I going to talk about? What stories am I going to tell? And I would freeze because I think our bodies go into that fight or flight moment. And I would literally freeze and not be able to communicate. And then eventually, once I calmed down, and co-hosting with someone is great because you could actually have a conversation. And if
Yeah.
like you're frozen, they can continue talking or they can
Yeah.
ask questions that they know you know the answer to. That definitely makes it easier, right?
Yeah.
I've also had a solo podcast in the past. After I got comfortable podcasting, I had a solo podcast. It was called The Breakthrough Babe or something like that. And again, like that was a lot of solo episodes, some guest episodes. It was scary because you're getting on there for 20, 30, 45 minutes just talking, and you don't see anyone. I don't see the people who are listening right now. I don't see you. If you're listening, amazing, thank you for being here, but I can't see you, right? So I'm just assuming that someone is going to hear this content and relate to it. And I think that takes a lot of trust and and it takes experience to realize like you are able to impact people even though you can't see them in front of you.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned uh, you had a solo podcast. So that solo podcast, is it still yours?
Yes, yes. I haven't recorded episodes on it recently. I've been rebranding a lot of stuff for my business. So I'm going to be launching a podcast in the next couple of months with all the lessons that I've learned from my previous podcasts. And I'm really, really excited for that. It's going to be a business and sales podcast.
Okay. So when will the launch be going live?
Whew. By the end of the summer. So before September.
That definitely.
Yes. Are you holding me to it?
It's not me, because before you know, someone will slide into your Instagram DM and said, I thought you said it's December, right? We're in 2027 and you still not launched the podcast. What's going on?
Oh, no, no, no. I feel like once I started getting into podcasting, it becomes addictive. It's like playing pickleball. Have you ever played pickleball?
I know the sports, but I don't play
Yeah.
pickleball.
Okay. Yeah. So I have not met many people who have played it once and then just walked away. Like everyone who plays it comes back for more. And then there's memes about like one more game, because no one ever wants to end. And I feel like podcasting becomes that way too. Like once you have the like knack of it and you know how to do it and you're not overwhelmed by the tech and you're not like making excuses about what could go wrong and all the things, like it just becomes so much fun that you actually want to do it.
I'm going to put you right.
So yes, it will be before September.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to,
Okay.
and this is based on what you just said previously. You said, I'm taking the lessons I've learned from my previous podcast, and I'm using it to rebrand and launch my own show. What are those lessons?
Okay. So one, I'll give you a couple lessons. Let's see here. One is when you launch, you want to have a couple of episodes so that people can binge it right away. And you want to have a team of people who can really be there to listen to it and to listen to it and to give it reviews all the way in the beginning, right? And then, so that's like the logistical side of it, just to get, because otherwise it's hard for it to be found if it's not hitting the algorithm in the correct way. Number two, I would say is really, excuse me,
Bless you.
really utilizing your voice. But funny for me to cough on the next topic, but is utilizing your voice.
I'll leave that to you.
Just being confident in what you're going to say. When I started my own podcast in the very, very beginning, I would script out what I was going to say. And I would literally, I would read, but try to make it sound like I was talking, what I was saying. And then I would listen to it. I'd be like, that didn't sound good. Let me re-record that part. I didn't like that part. Let me re-record that part. And I would release these episodes and they would get like okay traction. And then eventually I just said, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this podcast if I'm going to overanalyze every single thing I say more than the person even listening. I'm just going to talk from my heart. And so I think that's a big lesson too, is just say what's on your mind, right? Don't worry about what other people think or how other people feel. The right people are going to relate to it, and the people who don't relate to it are probably not your target audience anyway. And
Yeah.
that's okay, right? You're not here to make everyone happy, because it's not going to be possible to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
And so realizing that was huge, like not scripting it and just talking from my heart, and was major. And then also realizing like every moment in your life is you're creating a story, and a lot of that story is exciting and is worth sharing with others. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I have nothing exciting going on. What am I going to talk about? Or I have nothing like cool and different to say on that subject. How am I going to discuss it? But the truth is, like every single moment of your life, you're thinking thoughts and developing pieces of the story that if you were just to take a step back and like look at it with a bird's eye view, with a different perspective, you would see you're living the story that you get to tell. And so I went from thinking in my mind, like, I don't have any stories, to realizing literally everything is a story, right? Like the bad customer service experience you have on the airplane can be related to whatever you're doing in business. The good customer service experience you're having. I was on a sales call actually earlier today, and the potential buyer said, wow, you guys make it so easy to buy. Like, this is amazing. This experience is seamless. It's seriously incredible. And I just thought, like I took a step back. I'm doing sales for another company for this week. I do some consulting stuff sometimes. And I just took a step back and thought, she's right. Like, that's how every sales experience should be, right? And so when you begin to realize, like, but I just told you, I told you about a good sales experience, but I told you a story, so it's more memorable.
Yeah.
Right. And so people remember stories. They really, really do, but they forget the numbers and the little facts and details that you've told them, but they'll remember the point through a story. I mean, ever since we were little kids, we were, and I bet this happened where you grew up too. It happens all over the world. Like, we are hearing stories, we're hearing fables, we're hearing tales, but everything is being told through story, right? And so that was a big lesson for me, was realizing, just share stories. Like, it makes it so easy to have great episodes when you do share the stories. And then a couple other lessons, like from a logistics standpoint, is like really doing a good job with follow up. And it's like anything in business, right? Like, over communicate. Like for your podcast, I got a couple reminders, which were amazing. And it was at the top of my inbox right before I logged on. Like, I had it right at the top. I could just click it from there. I had it in the calendar too, but like, you make it super easy from a podcasting perspective, from a guest perspective, to be on there.
Thank you.
And then and so just make it easy for your guests. Pick good guests. Like, not everyone's going to be a good guest. Just because they want to guest doesn't mean they know how to communicate.
Yeah, for those that understand why I'm laughing right now, because this show is for podcast hosts, so we know why we all laugh. Let's not just talk about.
I mean, I've had people that give one word answers, and I'm like, but I need more. Like, tell
Yeah.
me more,
I
And
mean,
and they,
one word answers. I don't really have a problem with that. I'm like, okay, that's how this person is. Like, they don't really like. I just have to like dig deeper and try to ask them questions that
yeah,
pull them out of their comfort zone. But the one I have a problem is when I'm interviewing you and I'm asking you a question, and then it's as if I ask you, okay, when or I'll give an example. When did you start the podcast? The next thing you tell me is, yeah, my book is called this, and I'm like, what? Is it that I don't understand
no.
English, or I think that question is simple. Like, when did you start the podcast? I'm like, and then I'll say, okay, that was a mistake. I ask the second question, and every time I ask, it's as if there's this default switch. It goes back to the book. And I'm like,
Oh, that's not cool. See, here's the thing, right? no one wants to buy from someone that's constantly selling. I'm not here to sell anything, if that makes you feel any better. Like, I hope your audience will follow me and connect with me, but I'm
She's
really not here to
she's
sell
she's
anything
she's
right now.
lying.
Like
She's
like
lying. She's selling us.
no. No.
She wants people to like her and trust her, and then hopefully you buy from her. I'm just
One
kidding.
day you might want to buy from me. No, but
Yeah,
that's how it works.
yeah,
One
yeah,
day you might want to buy from me. And I'm breaking my cardinal rule right now of don't go on a podcast show without something to offer. I have things to offer, but if you really want them. All I'm saying is like I didn't come on here with a pure intention to sell something. I came on here to connect with you and share a story and hopefully impact other people who are listening. But you're right. There are people who go on and all they want to do is sell their stuff. And you're like, if you just let me ask you questions and you gave good answers, people would actually be interested in buying your stuff. But no one's
yeah.
interested because all you're doing is trying to sell. It's like, is the sky
Just
blue?
jamming
Let
it
me tell you about
down
my
their
book.
throat. Like buy this, and at that point in time, I'm like, I'm not even going to do anything there. Let's just allow the time pass
No,
and do what we have to do. Like, because I don't
right?
have that energy. Yeah.
Oh man, I get it. I really get it.
Yeah, I feel like even though
Oh, that's so
I've not
funny.
guessed before, being a podcast host and actually interviewing a lot of persons has actually taught me what I won't really say what it means to be a guest, but I've actually seen like how not to be a guest. Like yeah, I'm like no.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. When
Yeah,
oh man.
something I want to ask is you mentioned rebranding, right? You know, as podcasters, right? Life happens, right? We have a life, right? And we're not just podcasters. But we have a life. We had the
Yeah.
life before we became a podcast, and we'll still have the life even after. And hopefully, we'll keep podcasting for a long time. But you know, this is a major shift for you, right? You know, you
Oh
know
yeah.
you were doing the podcast with your what's the word I want to
Yeah.
use now? Yeah, your ex, and
My former mate.
and at that time, you know, it was really great. I think that's the scary thing I have about, and this is not just doing a podcast with your ex. Like it could be with your friend, it could be with your business partner, it could be with your colleague in the work. It doesn't have to be like romantic, but this is one of the scary thing about having a co-host on the podcast is that something could happen, right? And that's the thing. Like it could happen that you now have this now I'm not saying that's what happened for you, but I'm just speaking generally, right? Of course, you get to tell your own story. But something could happen that every time you hear podcasting, because your first introduction to podcasting was from doing it with your colleague, and then maybe you had a terrible experience with what it was a falling out with your colleague. And guess what? Every time you hear podcasting, that story, that experience just flashes in your mind. So I wanted to tell us, how have you been rebranded? You mentioned 2 years after stopping that podcast, and how's it been? I just want you to actually.
I think what you're saying brings up such a good point of like we can have a negative connotation in our brains if we have like a sour experience, but ultimately at the end of the day, one of the things that I always come back to is did it have an impact on other people? And I'm really driven by that. And so when I think about that, it's like, okay, I know it did because I got notes and I got letters and I got so many things. You know, when you have that many downloads, you really get a lot of people connecting with you to say, like, I really resonated with this or I resonated with that. And for me, that's a driving factor. And then to get to your question specifically about rebranding, because I was listening and I don't want to just promote my book, AKA, the bad guest. I took a little bit of time off because I needed to step away for a little bit and just like make sure that this was really still what I wanted to do with my life and did a lot of soul searching and came back to this is my passion. This is my love. This is what I want to do. Absolutely. I feel good when I'm helping people make more sales. And therefore, having a podcast where I can impact people in this way again will feel really great. And so that was one of the big driving factors. In terms of rebranding, I was really intentional about it. One of the big things was I actually had to change my last name because I no longer have my married last name. So it's like it is, I think, harder for a woman when that happens. Men don't usually take the other the woman's last name. Just saying. But I think that's harder when you have to change your name because that creates a lot a lot more friction in terms of people being able to find you. I think it creates a lot more friction in terms of people being able to find you, but I'm really happy with where my designers took the brand and what they're doing with it. I have a great team of people that I'm working with who are helping with the branding and making it really intentional so that it showcases the things that I can really help people with and why they should come to me. And it's kind of like a rebirth. It's really fun and really exciting. I mean, it's also humbling to start all over. I will say it's very humbling,
Yeah.
but it's great, right? I have a clean slate and I can do really whatever I want with it.
This is just coming out of thin air, but is any behind the scenes you could show us on the screen concerning the rebrand? I know we're not supposed to see the stuff. That stuff is private and it's secret.
Let's see. Let's see. I think
But
it's
please,
not actually
before
ready.
you share your screen, please go through the material and make sure there's no sensitive. Okay, I mean that's not really sensitive. Yeah, we're not live
Oh, I
streaming,
thought it
so
was pushed
if
live,
anything
but
happens, I can always cut it out. So it's not like we're live streaming. They're not supposed to see this stuff. They just got my bank credit
you just got all my banking details. No,
card.
sorry.
Okay, yeah, I'm just kidding. Okay,
Let's see. Let's see where we are here. I think I can show you a sneak peek of my website actually,
oh, okay, yeah.
because
For right now,
it's like yeah.
why you
Is that
sharing
what
this?
you're looking for?
I
Yeah.
mean, whatever you have, I'll take. Do you see the option to share? Something like share on the screen.
Um.
It has the word share, like at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I see the share.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Yes. So I'm just logging in first. So
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
let's
I'm
see.
I'm just going to ask you before you share the screen. Or while you're sharing the screen, why is it? Are you starting a new podcast or you're rebranding the breakthrough?
I'm rebranding everything, literally everything. I feel like I have evolved. Not even I feel like I know. I have evolved as a person in the past however many years, right? And so that podcast and my former podcast really no longer align with who I am. I'm a different person now, and I can help people in a different way. I see myself with almost like a different lens. So because of that, I am really able to I'm able to talk about different things and do different things, and that's really why I wanted to rebrand. I can't
Just
seem to log in, so I can't show you a sneak peek to the website, but what I can show you are these really cool custom icons that were created for me. If you give me a second, I'll pull them up. My designer is
why do I
really
feel like a
good.
child right now when you take the child down to buy ice cream and you say I there are no ice cream right now, but I can buy you this or that thing. I'm like, no, 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 I want ice cream. I didn't see the
Oh, that is
website.
so funny.
Website.
Okay, wait. I actually think I can show you a version of the website that's coming.
Okay.
This is not fully, this is like version 5 and we're on 6 or 7, but I don't have
I
it
mean, you know,
easily
the
accessible.
thing, I'm just going to put this out there, but anytime I feel like everything has to be perfect
Oh,
regarding the website, I just go back to Wayback Machine and I look at the big websites like YouTube and Google, and I see how horrible and ugly they were like 10 years
yeah,
ago. And then I'm
they'll
like, yeah,
never be
I'm doing well.
perfect, right?
And I'm
They'll
like, I'm way better
never
than
be
them. I'm
perfect.
way better than them. And
They'll
yeah,
never be perfect.
well, sell with heart,
So,
scale with confidence, live with
so
freedom.
yeah, so you see my doggy,
Yeah.
Jennifer Blake, apply for coaching. And then I have some logos here that are on the one that's about to be live of where I've been featured. But what I wanted to show you that I think is really cool are these icons. And we've added
Wow.
a couple. We actually added a podcast mic. So my designer, Caitlin, she designed these, hand drew them specifically for me, and they relate to things that are in my business. So you'll see like see, this is the wireframe. You'll see
Wow.
like here, like, we have icons for the different programs and they're meant to with sales conversations that convert this change to a different icon, but
Yeah.
they're meant to all be icons that are specific to the brand. And I'll even show
Yeah.
you because this is the show on podcasting. I'll show you the mic that she drew for me because I thought that was really cool. But
Wait, wait, wait,
Oh,
wait,
here,
wait. This is crazy.
yes.
I'm not accusing you, but I hope the mic that she drew, you have that mic.
I do have a mic, yes.
No, 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 not
It's at
like
my other place, but I do.
the mic that you're going to show me now. Do you have that mic in real life?
I have a mic that looks 99% like it. And I asked her to make an edit to it so that it looks even closer. Because that's a
Yeah,
good call. That's a good
yeah, yeah,
call.
yeah. Because you don't
Okay,
want to
let's see
be
if I can pull up this pattern. Hold on, let's
okay.
see.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, Riverside.
I know it took you some time to
Share.
do the soul searching and actually step back and step away from all the stuff. So most of the times when you are in the business or in the thing, there's this you don't get to like see the big picture and actually get the clarity. So sometimes you just have to step away. And I want to know like the actual rebranding, how long the actual okay, let's do the rebrand. Okay, get the designer, get the team of people who are doing the rebrand. How long would you say that
Yeah,
that
I've been thinking about it for probably 7 or 8 months, like way too long, way too long. Because part of the rebranding was, in all honesty, figuring out who I am. So it was so much deeper than just
the
a
podcast?
logo,
Yeah.
right? Or just a font or just a podcast or anything like that. Like it goes so much deeper than that. It really took a while to figure that out. And I went from here are the things I'm going to offer and this is what I want it to look like to seeing that back like reflected back to me and I was like, oh no, 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 that's not what I meant. And it was nothing, designers didn't do anything wrong, that they were simply providing what I had said.
Yeah.
And then I saw it in physical form and I was like, no,
Nah, that's
let's
not
take
what
this
I.
route.
Yeah.
And so like, the classy black and white Jennifer Blake, like the but yet the fun icons, like I wanted it to have a little like zest and a little life to it, but also be really simple and elegant. And I think they did a really good job of achieving that, but it definitely took a long time because I wasn't sure of what I wanted. I think if I had gone into it more sure, it would have been way faster.
Yeah, the thing about I don't know, but the thing about certain decisions, and I'm put it out there, is especially when it comes to rebrand, is when you usually people spend time, oh, I'm not sure this, I'm not sure that. But I feel like if you do a rebrand and then you pick it up and say decide to run with it, if it's not for you, like it's just like think of adopting a rebrand like putting on a clothes, um, and then it takes them a
Yeah,
couple of months.
absolutely. I think also without trying it on, you wouldn't know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
need to try it on in order to know if it's right for you. And that's the only way to know. And so what I find is like people don't take action, aka they don't try it on,
yeah. I
right?
mean,
And
I
then they're
mean,
stuck in this.
yeah, there are some dresses you see and immediately you know that that's definitely not for me. But then there are some that,
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it could go well with my eyes and everything, and then you're like, oh man, this is one of the examples of my poor judgment.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're
Yeah,
saying, but what I'm trying to say, I think, is that action creates clarity, right? So I
yeah,
only knew what I didn't want with the branding because I tried it on.
yeah,
Whereas I think a lot of times as like an entrepreneur, we sit there and we're like, let me keep thinking about it. Let me
yeah,
figure that out. And then, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. You were about showing me the icon so that we don't start talking and then I forget. And then later when I'm editing the podcast, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh, I forgot to
it's
ask her.
struggling to pull up. I don't
Oh,
know why it won't. I'm saying show my screen, but it's not. I don't know why. Sorry, I forgot you still wanted to see it. But I
oh,
love that you still want to see it. But it's not. It's not letting me show it to you. I don't really know why. It's
oh,
it's not a web tab, so and maybe that. Oh, I got
oh,
it. I got it. Here we
okay.
go. All right. So here is the new
Wow.
version of the and you can see the podcast mic in there. And so it looks exactly like my mic, but what not I'm not using it today, but because I don't have it here where I'm at. But um what I asked is if they could put the JB, like my initials, onto the mic because I thought that would be cool and help
Oh,
you know that it's
wow.
like a custom icon, you know? So we added
Yeah.
in like the fire because sometimes you have to light stuff up to really like ignite things, and the pearl, and you know just things that make you unique, and the key but with the heart, because as I talked about, like you want to have everything come from your heart, and the
Yeah.
balance, because I really believe the scales of balance. Like you can't work all the time and then have no life, but you can't also like party all the time and not work. There's like a happy medium, a balance to that. And so every single icon that you see here was really intentional and themed to things that I teach and things that I offer. The mirror for self-reflection and really figuring out who you are, and using that in your story and using that in your sales. And so like I could go on and on, right? But like I just thought it was so cool how she captured the essence of what I was talking about in such a fun way.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a
I'm glad I
brilliant,
got that to share.
yeah, a brilliant concept. Yeah. I love the rebrand. So I did ask you a question, and
Thank you.
you were answering. You're telling me it took you about 7 months thinking about the rebrand, but I don't think you actually mentioned the actual time of actually starting the rebrand. When you're like, oh, designer, yeah, let's start the rebrand.
Yeah, I was really lucky. I have a great team, and they're quick. So they turned everything around now twice, because I did the first version and was like, wait, no, that's not it. And then we did the second version. So that was the 7 months was really all in. If I had known what I wanted to begin with, it would have taken maybe 6 weeks. I mean, it would have been super fast, which is
Yeah.
insane to me that you can be up and running fast.
Yeah, it's I know this is we're talking about podcasting and rebranding, but it's one of the things I've been noticing, and this is just like business wise and entrepreneurs and all that is you get member like how do I say this now? You get members of your team and they're there, they're really good, like really great at what they do. But guess what happens? The reason you got them on your team is because you want to do the thing that you're really good at doing, which is like the money making, the big stuff, the thing that moves the business.
Yeah.
And what happens is that when you get them on the team, you don't do that thing that you are supposed to be doing. And guess what? They are stuck because they cannot move forward except you move. So I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Like
Like
you are
you
like
become the bottleneck.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
exacting force, exacting everything, but no progress. And then it looks as if they are not working and they're not doing anything. Whereas the whole idea of you getting them to be on the team is so you can do the thing you're good at, which is like very important for the business, but you're not doing that thing. And yes, and most entrepreneurs they do that thing. They're like, oh yeah, I should get a member for my team because this person said it's fantastic. They get a member of their team, and guess what? They're still not doing anything. They're like, yeah, they have free time now. So what is the free time for? Nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the mindset of like, you got to surround yourself by really talented people and give them the freedom to do things. Like I said, I'm pretty sure my virtual assistant turned my website live. She didn't turn it live on a website on a URL that anyone would know to go to, but I'm pretty sure she turned it live. It's not ready. And I'm just like, it's okay. It's her telling me like, let's go, like it's her telling me that we need to make this happen. And sometimes you just gotta trust. And that's okay too. I froze
Yeah.
in a really funny position. I was like, so exciting right now. So excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just gotta trust, and like I, I'm not of the mindset around micromanaging. I just can't do that, won't do it, and I have been the bottleneck in former businesses, and I don't ever want to be that person again. Like if you're gonna hire people and invest money towards a problem, let them be part of the solution.
And they're
That's
part of the
my
solution.
mindset.
It's just that it's like, you're trying to cook up something, right? Let's say, just like the producer, the producer is there. He's pretty good at what he does for the podcast, but you're not showing up to record the episodes. And so he doesn't have episodes to release. And now we're wondering,
Right. He's
well, the
like, what do
producer
you
is not doing
do?
anything because you're not doing your thing. Like, and sometimes you just have to, sometimes most employees they figure it out, sometimes they don't, and so they're wondering what's going on. But the producer saw it and was like, you have to be serious. Like, if you don't do this, it's going to look bad on me. And yeah, so Serious.
Exactly. I mean, he had
Yeah.
such a good moment of being brutally honest, right? Of like, if you want this to be a thing, you gotta come do it. You gotta show up and talk and be consistent. And I think that once I heard that, I was like, oh, of course I want it to be a thing. Let's do it. I'll get over this fear. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's strange because
So
we often judge people by their actions, but then when it comes to ourselves, we judge ourselves by our intention. We're like, yeah, I love to start a podcast. I want to start a podcast. And then we don't ask ourselves, okay, but based on the things I've done so far, do I look like someone who's serious about the podcast? You're like, actually not.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to tell you now. I feel like you're holding me accountable. I'm gonna have to tell you now when my new podcast launches, and I'll have you on as a guest to tell your story.
Ooh, wow. Wow. That's brilliant. Wow. Yeah,
Okay, that'll
I'm
be
like,
so fun.
if I was pitching you to your podcast, I don't think I would actually pitch to your podcast. You know why? Because I would have seen your podcast sales, scale, confidence, and all that, and I'm like, I mean, I don't think I can offer value. You know how you're like, yeah, no.
I know you can offer value. That's crazy town. You can absolutely offer
Yeah,
value.
yeah. And the strange thing is that okay, in December, I like this year so far, what I've noticed for me is that decades have been happening in weeks in this year. And so I don't know what will happen in December. So maybe in December I'm like I'll be way different. So yeah, in a good
I
way, of
can't
course.
wait. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
exciting. So exciting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you mentioned that the rebrand will be going live in December, and I'm
No,
concerned
the rebrand's going live this week.
because that was the next question I was
Yeah.
about to ask you. I was like, why does it have to take to December? I was like,
No, no,
I'm
no.
I'm
The rebrand is going live this week, and then the podcast will follow by September.
Oh, you said September, not December. Okay, so we're in June,
September. Yeah.
July,
Yeah.
August, September. Okay, so
The
two,
end of
3 months.
August. The end of
Okay,
August.
the end
Yeah.
of August. Okay,
Yeah.
2 months. Okay, so you want everything to settle
Yeah.
in and then you start the podcast. Okay,
Yeah.
so
And
you'll
then
be
the
doing
podcast will be started.
you'll
Yeah.
be doing
I'm going to record some stuff behind the scenes first, and then
yeah.
have it all ready to
Oh, okay. So
release.
the podcast is actually starting like next week, this week, but it's more like you batch a couple of episodes and then when it goes live, you have like three,
Exactly.
5 episodes. Yeah. I mean,
Exactly.
I feel like it will be easy. Now, this is me just being train it out there. I feel like solo episodes for me,
Tell
or
me.
it's easier for me to record solo episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
because
I agree. I agree with
we
that.
don't have to
Yeah.
deal with the logistics of having to get a guest on the podcast and then having to chat. Of course, chatting with guests is great. It's fantastic. Usually, most of the time, I don't even do any work. I just ask the questions and that's it. But for solo episodes, I could just like batch 3 to 4 in a sitting because it's my story. I don't have to do crazy research. Like, imagine if you had to tell your story, like
Mhm.
different versions of the
You
story,
just
like
show up and talk, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and tell
Yeah.
your story, and
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah.
yeah, so you don't have to like do crazy research and
Yeah.
say, okay, is this stuff, is it true? Or what are the top tactics? No, it's my style. Like, guys, I want to tell you about this stuff that happened. Yeah, when I was this, and you just like soak into the story, and there's this energy and that, and then 3, 4 episodes is done. Because I feel like most
Yeah.
podcasts interview podcasts, they refrain from telling their story, like they hide behind the mic in a way. Maybe I'm just talking about myself, right? You see them interview people, talk to guests, and when you're like, oh, I want you to talk about your story. So episode, no, no, to tell.
We're going to hear your story on my podcast. I can't wait to hear your
Yeah,
story.
yeah,
It's going to be
okay.
so fun.
Because I said what you did there.
You're not hiding.
Okay. It's a good thing. The rebrand is going live this week. Is that definite?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
like probably by tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that when this podcast goes live, yeah, the website or the rebrand, everything will be
Oh yeah, it'll
be
be up. Yeah.
will be
It's
live.
just jenniferblake.co. But I would love for your audience to connect with me on Instagram. I
Wait,
am Jennifer Blake.
what happened to .com? Who took .com?
I don't know, but it's not cool because they have it. So that's all right though. That's all right. .co is like even cooler.
I feel like crying right now.
No, it's okay. I'm fine with it. I have to
Okay, yeah.
explain to everyone I talk to it's not .com, it's .co.
No,
And then they
yeah.
remember it very
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of websites that have .co, but it's not I've cited a couple of brands, blogs, and stuff like that. And the hardest thing for me is coming up with names for the brand and the business, right? Now it's not because I
Yeah.
can't come up with a name. It's just that every name I try to come up with is taken. And
Yeah,
the
it's
strange
hard.
thing
It's hard. It's hard.
about the taking is that it's not like there's actually a business out there that has that name. You kind of disappeared. It's
The internet, I don't know what's going
yeah,
on.
okay.
It's crazy.
It's not like there's a business out there. It's just that someone buys the name and they're like, oh, I'm willing to sell it for $10,000. I'm like, and so I have
Yeah.
to come up with a name again and again and again and again. And every time that's why I think it's a good thing. It allows me to focus on this business because when I think starting a new business, I'm like, nah, I don't want to go through that process.
I don't want to go through the naming process.
Yeah, no. I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
well, someone had my name.com, but that's okay. It's all good. But yeah, I would love to connect and, connect with your people on Instagram at I am Jennifer Blake, and
Yeah.
they'll get some sales tips.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's strange that let me use the word coach on the podcast, and we didn't even talk, and we didn't even say anything about sales. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. That sometimes happens. It's all good.
Nah,
It's
I'm
all
not.
good.
Nah, I'm not comfortable with that.
The biggest part of selling, or the reason, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. That's like obviously been stated 1,000 times, but it's so true, right? So I'm not here necessarily today to sell anything. I help people make more sales, good at it, because
Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
But really, like, I just want your audience to connect with me, because I think then we can develop a relationship. They can get more knowledge, more strategies, more tools, and then maybe one day they'll want to buy something. But in the meantime, take advantage of all the free stuff I put out there, because I try to help a lot of people.
Yeah. It's a good thing you mentioned that. I know we're about getting to the end of podcast, but I'll just ask all the questions quickly. The first one is, what's the name of the podcast?
The new podcast, I don't know yet.
Oh,
Do you want to help me name it?
the Jennifer Blake Show.
Since you love naming things,
No, I mean the Jennifer Blake Show. Wait, out of curiosity, is
it's going
Blake?
to be something around sales school. Blake's my
Okay.
middle name. Blake's my middle
Oh,
name.
Blake's your middle name.
Glockow is my last name, but I shortened it because Jennifer Blake's more easy to remember from a branding perspective.
Okay.
It's going to be something around sales school, something around that. I don't know the exact name yet, though. I'm working on it. I'll have it before we launch, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. I mean that's the thing about starting a podcast name is, except of course I'm buying a domain. Even if I'm buying a domain, I always know that that's something I can always change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just want it to be simple so people know that they're getting sales and business tips, when they join. So we'll see. But it's gonna be like the School of Sales, or I don't know, something
yeah,
around that.
School of
We'll
Sales.
see.
That's nice. School of Sales, like School of Greatness, School of Life. But you have to check that
Yeah,
someone
School of
doesn't have that
Life.
podcast name so that like
I know,
yeah,
I know,
because
I know.
it's a nice idea and it's so simple that you start wondering someone might have taken it.
Good thing this isn't airing for a little bit, so that if I want to take it, I have the option. As everyone
Yeah,
runs to go take it right
yeah,
now.
I'll go and claim it so that
Oh,
when you
thank
see the name
you.
and I'm like,
Thank you.
don't thank me. It's a business deal. I'm like, give me $10. Yeah. Yeah, and he starts saying,
Oh,
but
man.
I thought we were friends. And I'm like, business. This is
It's
this is
just
business.
business.
It's just business. No feelings. It's just business.
Oh, man.
And they usually say these things when they are ripping you off, and they're like, no hard feelings.
Right. Oh, that's when they always say it. No
Yeah, it's
feelings,
just
just
business. It's
business,
just
just
business.
business,
It's just
business.
business.
Yeah.
Okay. Quickly, I just how would you say, I know if someone was to, like, sales is everything, that it applies in everywhere. How would someone quick, I know it's something that you're supposed to, like, spend a lot of time to really break down, but if I was to sell my podcast, I mean, not sell in terms of sell, but you understand what I mean, not sales in the traditional sense of selling, but more like, I feel like sales are, like, when you say you sell me an idea, it's not like I'm
Yep.
going to buy or pay money for it, but it's just like, put it in my head and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm subscribed to it. I'm cleared. And if I was to sell my podcast in that context, not, oh, I want to sell my podcast and and it's no longer mine as a business. No, I'm talking about sell it to the listeners or the. Is there a framework I could
Well,
use?
there's a different pitch, there's a different sell, so to speak, if you're selling it to the guest versus the listener, right? Because
Okay.
what you're really getting at is what they care about. What's in it for me? So, what's in it for a guest is definitely different than what's in it for a listener. So, if I'm a listener, what am I going to get out of listening to your podcast? How is it going to benefit me? Well, let's hear from you. Like, how would they benefit?
The listener or the
How do your
guest?
listeners benefit? How do your listeners benefit?
Yeah, I mean, it's they get the behind the scenes of podcasts and actually see the real stuff that nobody talks about, like the messy stuff, like you just mentioned in your story and everything. These things nobody really talks about on the podcast. Like everybody see,
No,
yeah, great and stuff like that. You don't really
podcasting's great. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, podcasters they have a
yeah.
life
So,
too.
like, and so what you're saying is like if you listen to my show, you'll be able to learn from people who have gone before you and learn from their experiences and maybe cut down the time it takes to start your own podcast or get over the fears that people normally have with podcasting or cut down the errors and save money and save time and right. So I'm like naming a ton of things that the benefits of why someone might want to listen to it. And by the way, you're pretty cool too. And so they might like feel connected to you in some way. So I think, it's really about when you're pitching something to someone, it's about asking the right questions so you know what they care about and really sharing what's in it for them.
Yeah, I feel like the podcast is doing that well in terms of the guest because usually all the guests I have on my show they're like, yeah, I love podcasts. I love yeah, sure, podcast story. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah.
Man, no, this has been amazing. I know we have to wrap up. I'm so grateful for your time and for hosting me and really this has been so awesome.
Yeah, that's true. I'm looking at the recording time instead of actually looking at the actual time. And so I was thinking we had 2 minutes and then I just looked at it and I saw that,
Oh, let's stay on extra. I just have another call that's like backed up right
okay,
to this
okay.
role. So I would
Yeah.
be staying because this is so fun.
Just your quickly, where can people learn more about you? And
Yeah, come connect with me on Instagram. It's I am Jennifer Blake. And come to my website, jenniferblake.co, and you'll get everything you can use right there.
yeah, once again, thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing your podcast story. And I'd love to continue the chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5 of your
Oh, I
podcast story.
can't
And
wait.
yeah, let's stay
It'll
in
be
touch.
great. Okay, absolutely. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that's it for today's episode of my podcast story. I am Wisdom Okonkwo, and I hope this conversation sparked new ideas and gave you a deeper look into the heart of podcasting. If you've loved this episode, consider supporting the show by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/wisdomhq. Every bit helps keep the stories going. And hey, don't forget to follow, rate, and share this podcast with another podcaster or creator who would find it helpful. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode.